I would like to give some pointing out instruction regarding practicing with the deity being YabYum. Most of us, although we've been practicing the shower blessing for a long time, don't seem to have a rather wobbly understanding of what all that means. And so we can probably answer by rote and say, yes, maybe wisdom and compassion, or, you know, emptiness and form, or whatever. But we don't really know how to approach it. For instance, in shower blessings, we are looking at Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal, and we wonder, which one are we really looking at? Are we really looking at Guru Rinpoche, or who's important, Guru Rinpoche or Yeshe Tsogyal? We sort of think like that because we're trained to think like that. And then in the practice that I am practicing now, one visualizes oneself in union with Guru Rinpoche, the Chime Tsoktek. And in that one, you want, and you'll practice that at some point too, and possibly you've done other practices in which one visualizes YabYum. So we wonder to ourselves, you know, well, see, I'm a girl, so should I be the Dakini? Or, you know, how do you work that out? So I would like to give a little pointing out instruction regarding that. We hold what we call the Tsawe Lama, the root guru, the heart guru, the core guru, which is our guru, to be a person. We don't see that this is an emanation of compassionate Buddha's activity. We don't see that. We see the person. And so then we imagine that Guru Rinpoche is like that. Guru Rinpoche is like that. He's a person, solid and real. And so our problem is that we think of ourselves so solidly that when we think of Guru Rinpoche and Mandarava, or Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal, they must be there, or they must be here, or somebody's sitting on somebody, or somebody's got their arm around somebody, or how's it all going? Well, that's not really the important concern. And the reason why one is so concerned with that is because we are so concerned with ourselves, and we so identify with self. Actually, when you are practicing, either visualizing YabYum or practicing as YabYum deity, then what you are practicing is the essential mudra, the essential causality and emptiness, like Kuntuzangpo and Kuntuzangmo, the primordial Buddhas that cannot be described, cannot be seen, cannot be tasted or sensed in any way, other than when one accomplishes enlightenment. And so Guru Rinpoche in union represents the primordial guru, which is really the source of all phenomena. The primary guru in union, which is really the source even of all phenomena. Kuntuzangpo, Kuntuzangmo, they are the primordial Buddhas, they are the owners. If there was anything to own, they would own it. If they existed, they would, on that level, they would be the owners of emptiness and phenomena. In the primordial Buddha, YabYum is emptiness and phenomena arising and completing perfectly with nothing missing. The entire dance and display of appearances is the very mind of the guru. Every sound is the speech of the guru. And as we practice and mix our minds with the guru, then every thought is the mind of the guru. And so we should look at the visualization and ourselves as part of that visualization, as this is the mudra, the union of emptiness and display, of wisdom which is, in a way you could say, knowledge empty of self-nature. Stretch a little on that. Wisdom and emptiness, or wisdom and compassion. And compassion is the only true movement that arises naturally out of the primordial Buddhas, out of the primordial, empty, and yet absolutely complete nature. All there is Buddha. All there is Guru Rinpoche. He is always in union with his consort. That is what never changes. That is the appearance of phenomena in its dance with emptiness. And so the power of the seven-line prayer arises not only from the blessing of the connection with Guru Rinpoche, not only because of the seed syllables, but because this is the heart of this mudra of display. It can cut like a knife. This seven-line prayer is so powerful. And I know so many of us want to practice something more fancy, or go to another lama and get something better, or go here, go there. I mean, you have everything you need in New York, in the Payul lineage. Everything is there. And then there's me. So you have that. You can go anywhere you want, but you cannot practice more powerfully than when you practice Guru Rinpoche in union. So all those other kinds of concerns and ideas, really these are just ordinary concerns and ideas. Our main idea, the power that we are tentatively the owners of, this wisdom, this compassion, this dance of Kuntuzangpo and Kuntuzangmo can cut through the display of phenomena, because it is essentially empty of self-nature. We experience our own phenomena. Please understand this. No one's doing anything to you. We experience our own phenomena. Like reflecting mirrors that we can't distinguish back at us all the time. And then when we begin to practice watching and stabilizing the mind and receiving the blessing of Guru Rinpoche, YabYum, our focus begins to change. When we begin to realize the power of this, that this is the very mudra of equanimity and samaya, of wisdom and compassion, of emptiness and form. Nothing else exists. And as we train our minds, every sound is Guru Rinpoche. Every breeze, every touch, every breath. As we train our minds, we understand. And it doesn't matter what we start with. We are counting on the blessing of this mudra to cut through the phenomena that we ourselves have created, through the suffering that we ourselves have created. When the display of phenomena began from the mudra of emptiness, suffering was not intrinsically attached to that. It is once desire and the idea of self-nature began to complicate everything, then we look at ourselves. We cannot see phenomena for what it is. We cannot see the pure Tsawe Lama. We cannot see our own Buddhahood. And so the practice of YabYum cuts through that duality. Whether you visualize the deities above or whether you visualize yourself as the YabYum deity. And the nectar of the blessing is in that essential union. You ask yourself, does the blessing come from Guru Rinpoche or Mandarava? Does it come from Guru Rinpoche or Yeshe Tsogyal? Because that's how we think. We're a little crazy that way. But this is the union of wisdom and compassion. This is the display of the primordial Buddha. As we turned our distracted, sick, phenomenal, dualistic minds toward that and really be with that mudra, realizing it, realizing the power, that if one has the awareness of emptiness, of the emptiness of self-nature, that karma does not exist. Where is it? Until we reach that state, however, when we are that mudra, karma exists for us indeed. And we know it now. If we didn't know it before, we know it now. So while we are being good little bunnies and praying for the people that we love, and also praying for all sentient beings, remember that this is a time of accomplishment. We've gone way far down the road of samsara. Time to pull up. Realize this mudra of emptiness and compassion. Realize that this is the non-dual dance. Space, time, perception, all of it. It is all the very display of Kutuzangpo and Kuntuzangmo in union, or Samanta Bhadra and Samanta Bhadri in union. I think Yeshe Tsogyal gets to be Kuntuzangmo and Mandarava. No, I'm serious. She's Samanta Bhadri. I can hardly say it. So that's the mudra. That's the union. That is what you are. You're not. There's no cut. You're not cutting out a coloring book and pasting out the YabYum picture and putting it up there and making the blessing come down. That's not it. This is your nature. And if your mind is sick or disturbed or tired or whatever it is, you are relying on that non-dual display that is your nature. And the more you become the more you rest in that mudra, and at the same time realize its utter power, that it is stronger than all phenomena. Nothing is more powerful than the mudra of emptiness and compassion. Nothing. And so we can turn our suffering around. It's not that we're not going to age. It's not that we're not going to die. We already know this stuff. It's part of the conditions that we find ourselves in. But we have a shot at not only changing the phenomena that we see around us, but also getting back on track, accumulating this mantra as we're doing now, and tuning the old machine up, getting it right again. Getting right in your heart with your Dharma. Look forward to it, anticipate it, enjoy it. It is the most delicious thing. When you give up the ghost. I find out that, we want to be young and free, but then when we figure out we're not, then we rethink all that. So we've gotten past that, haven't we? The young and free part. There's no such thing. We're all here. So to remain stable, and this is the blessing that I'm asking you to accomplish for Asia's sake. I'm asking you to accomplish it to please the precious gurus. And I'm asking you to accomplish this to alleviate your own suffering. Awaken. Awaken to the mudra of Guru Rinpoche in union with his consort. This is available to you. So I offer you that. The reality of the protectors is like the reality of everything, in the sense that there is an outer, inner, and secret level. Most of us only look at the outward level of things, the appearances of things, and we judge these appearances to be inherently real. And so when we think of protectors, we think they must come from Tibet somewhere, you know. Well, you know, in a way they do. Guru Rinpoche blah, 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 went to Tibet, and of course one of the things, most important things that he did were to subdue the local demons and harm doers. And these were, of course, spiritual beings that did spiritual harm to the people there. In other words, in order to go to Tibet and begin teaching tantric practice, he had to dispel all the obstacles. He had to rid Tibet of these demons. It's not different from coming to America. When the Lamas first came to America, there was a lot of subduing to be done. There is still a lot of subduing going on. But Guru Rinpoche is known for his tremendous capacity to just go there and clear everything, clear all obstacles, clear all demonic forces. And the story is that he actually tamed them and pacified them and turned them towards the good. In other words, they are now protectors of Dharma, including Mahakala, who is my personal protector and for whom I have a great deal of devotion and love. Little side story was, when I was a little girl, he used to appear to me whenever my parents were mean to me, and when bad things were going on. I used to call him my googly-eyed monster. And he used to dance, and he was holding things. I didn't know what they were. But anyway, I was never afraid of him, even though he's pretty strange looking. So when we think of these protectors, we think of them as things that are external. And the reason for that, of course, is because we think of everything as external. We think that we are these solid beings. We don't know that we in fact ourselves exist on an outer, inner, and secret level. And of course, that is why we engage in Dharma practice, is to awaken to those inner levels. So on the outer level, yes, we do offer these nourishments. You know, when we do the protector offerings with the Serkim, we offer the wine, or sometimes it's tea, or depending on the different practice, and then the grain underneath. And then we visualize it to be everything, the entire universe filled with the great offerings and a giant Kapala. And so we think of them on that outward level, and we practice here, acting as though they are on that outward level. We make offerings to them. But try to remember what I spoke about yesterday, when I gave the short pointing out instructions. I was talking about the dilemma of trying to understand which guru we are, you know, which supposed to identify with, and I explained that it's really the mudra of union that is being displayed there. On the inner level, let me continue. On the outer level, we make prayers to the protectors to keep us strong on the path. Their job, as Guru Rinpoche trained them, is to keep us strong on the path. And so we sort of think they come from all over, wherever Guru Rinpoche hangs out, you know, and they fly in, and they come and get the snacks. And we sort of think like that. But that's because psychologically that's the way children think. Children think when you're in danger, somebody big and strong protects you. When you're in trouble, somebody big and strong saves you. You know, and if you've done something wrong, somebody big and strong shows you the way out. But as spiritual adults, hopefully we begin to understand this outer, inner, and secret level business. And actually, as we attain our own awakening through our practice, we awaken, as you know, the 5 distinct main chakras. Let's not get in an argument about how many chakras there are. There are 5 main chakras. There are others, but they are considered minor, different than the way the Tibetans look at them. So, I mean, you have chakras at the end. You have a chakra at the end of your tongue, if you don't know that. Try it on a battery. Kiss your doggy. So we are so asleep, we still think of ourselves as these spiritual children sitting in our little chairs doing our little you know, and sending out something hopefully, or taking in something hopefully. We still haven't got that understanding. As we actually become spiritual adults and we begin to awaken, we begin to enact certain capabilities that we have. And of course, you know, it's spoken that the Buddha's display is body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities, right? And so actually, the protectors are considered the activity level of the Buddha nature. They are not separable from the Buddha nature. And in a way, it's a mistake to call them they, because on the secret level, we have to begin to grow our understanding that that is our own nature. How does it work? It works like this. When we are on the path, we take vows. If you read the English translation of some of this stuff you're babbling, you will understand that many times you take Samaya vows. And many times you ask for the blessing and the protection of the lineage holders. We ask for the blessing of the Sawe Lama. We ask for the blessing of the protectors. And so those prayers begin to awaken that innate capacity. When we make those Samaya vows, that is not bubblegum. That is not just blah, blah, blah. Those Samaya vows mean something. Similar to the stage in life, like as an adult, perhaps you get married and you have children. At that adult, some things of your life narrow down. The road narrows here a little bit. You're focused, you're going in a certain way, you've decided your direction. See what I'm saying? Nod your head. Good. All right. I never know. So when you take these Samaya vows, their meaning is that you have asked for something. And in exchange, just in the same way that we ask for a beloved or a family or those ordinary things, you've asked for something. You've asked for protection and blessing. You've asked to make progress on your path. Therefore, these Samaya commitments must be kept, and if they aren't kept, the way that it works is that there are obstacles. Broken samaya makes suffering. Broken samaya makes obstacles. Sometimes we break samaya commitment through lack of awareness, simply dullness, lack of understanding. We didn't even know that counted, whatever it was we just did, you know. And then sometimes we break samaya because we think nobody will know. And we just don't feel like it. Just don't feel like it. Whatever it is we're supposed to do, just don't feel like it. And so we forget, in the same way that we forget that once we were young and now we're old and someday we'll be dead, in the way that we conveniently forget all of that, we have forgotten these samaya commitments that we make. And so as our road narrows, it also, as we make these commitments, as the road narrows in one way, maybe there are some things that you will do less and some things that from now on you won't do at all, according to your Vajra commitments. But then, on the other hand, the gift you get in return is the focus, the ability to accomplish. You see? The awakening, gradual, stage by stage. I mean, if your if your effort is steady, your progress will be steady. And the reason why people turn away from Dharma after a while is because they don't practice. They haven't made steady progress, and the original commitment that they made sort of floated away. Now, as for the protectors, if we break our own commitments that we have made, there will be obstacles. You can break a leg. You can be ill. You can have mental confusion. Circumstances in your life can take you out to sea, where no matter how good of a swimmer you are, you cannot come back to Dharma. All these things happen. And where do they come? They come from some meanie that punishes you? No, that's still thinking like a little child. Once again, the road narrowed. You didn't pay attention. It was focused, but you weren't focused. There was help there, and now you've fallen off. And on a secret level, it is you yourself that will raise the obstacles to get your attention. You do it. You will do it. Of course, there are many classes of protectors. There are lineage protectors that are sworn to protect our lineage. We pray to them, and once again, we ask ourselves, what is our business with that? What is our connection with that? Well, we have committed to protect the lineage. You see? And so there is something in us that, once activated, acts as support, protector. In fact, you are then generating the activities of the Buddha. But while we are asleep, the protectors still seem to be out there. And we do need to make these actual physical offerings to them so that we can connect outer, inner, and secret. The phenomenal level with the empty level. YabYum. Once again, we're back to YabYum. There are classes of protectors. We have our own personal protectors as we enter onto the path because we've prayed to them and we've asked them to be our protectors. We require them. Without them, it's hopeless. So at this stage of the game, we do protector prayers faithfully, try to visualize as best we can, but at least do them with faith and devotion. And we are taught that all the protectors are enlightened. Well, certainly they are, because they come from enlightened activity. There's always an outer, inner, and secret level. From the enlightened perspective, what happened when Guru Rinpoche went to Tibet was he met with the negativity and stagnation and all the wrong practice and wrong stuff that was there. And as lamas do, with their own pure realization, begin to transform their environment like a stupa does. Gradually begin through their own practice in their own ways. Each lama has their own different way. They battle and they practice, and they sometimes take on obstacles or sometimes simply destroy them in ways that are unfathomable to us. But the nature of the protectors on a secret level, there's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, we should be encouraged to rely upon them as part of our Dharma family to keep us safe along the way. When I see someone that has dropped their robes or really committed some serious non-virtue or helped someone else drop their robes or something like that, my grief is, I really get my panties in a twist, I'll tell you. My grief is just, I can't function for a while because I know the result of that. I know the suffering that will ensue. The protectors will do their protecting. They are active, they are functional, they are here, and they are not separate from us. And so that's a better way to understand them, to understand that we have to come from a place, we have to come from spiritual childhood to spiritual adulthood, where the potency is awakened within us. Not fake potency like bullshit potency like, I'm sending Mahakala after you. I would not recommend that. You don't know him like I do. Not fake like that, but developing your awareness of your nature and awakening to your own inner Buddha nature. And then you know the power of the protectors. You know their power and you know their compassion. They work in their ways. They're not going to work in your way. And the reason why is because we all like to be sweet and lovey-dovey around here. Actually, one of the monks up at His Holiness's monastery, that listened to my, it was one of the Khenpos, listened to my teachings on tape. And he said, why, it's perfect Dharma. But it's all sweet and milky like Mama Lama. He said, it's not tough guy Dharma the way that, the lamas get in there, try to scare the patooties out of you. Get your attention. And I'm sitting here going, there, baby, it'll be sweet if you just say the damn prayers. That's how it goes. So the protectors are part of our Sangha. They are us. They are not separate from us on a real level. They are to be welcomed. They are to be utilized. And it's a way for us to understand that the seriousness of when we make commitments, we have to keep them. Again, back to the thing of the example of marriage, okay? When you do a first marriage, isn't that great? Things are going well in this country. The first time that you get married, you think, that's the only time I'm going to get married. You think that's that. And all you see when you get married is, well, the ring and the flowers and the dress and all that hoo-ha, ramadamba ding-dong stuff. and the music and, you know, all the stuff us little girls were trained to love. The rings are nice. So, when all you can think about is the first flush or blush or whatever you want to call it of love, and you think, oh, my life is complete now, my beloved is with me, everything is just opened, but actually you've made commitments. And while you're in love, and this is why marriage goes sour, while you're in love, you're just feeling all the open up, hoo-hoo, it's all here. You know, it's just all grand and beautiful and chocolate. And, and then later on, the grand and beautiful and chocolate kind of melts a little bit or goes the way of, say, taking out the garbage, not putting down the toilet seat, you know, stuff like that. And gradually, over time, you realize that what's actually happened is that you've made a hell of a commitment. And suddenly you own a house. Did you want a house? Well, you sort of did in your little mind, but then you realize now you've got to pay for it. And then, you know, you've got children. Suddenly you have children. And we think about that. When we think of children, we think of this. We don't think of sending them to college, do we? We don't think of how much money they cost. And so it's similar in our practice. In the beginning, when we take our robes, we do so with such pride. And it's beauty. You know, it's just beauty. It's so beautiful. It's so yummy. Everything is gold and red and shiny. And there's so many candles and the crystals. And it's just everything. It's going to be good from now on. I can feel it, you know. And that's how you're thinking. But again, you've taken these commitments. There's no trick here. The commitments are what brings you forward. They're what makes your Dharma work. That's why you enter Dharma, so that your road can narrow into a focus where you can practice, cross the ocean of suffering, and be liberated. Maybe someday you'll discover that, like in marriages, that wasn't what you wanted. I can see understanding you don't want that marriage anymore. But I can't see not wanting liberation. One thing I know for sure is that when you get close to death, you'll be so pleased for every single moment that you spent in meditation or contemplation or that you gave rise to the bodhicitta. And the marriages will be non-existent. They will not matter at all. Just to use an explanation or a symbol to make us understand that it's not always about, all right, sometimes the road gets thinner and drier in patches. You know that. We've talked about it before. But you made that commitment, and that thinness and dryness, when the road really narrows, and you feel like you're in a box, there's just no way to go, this is the Guru's blessing. This is the protector's blessing, because the only way you can go is forward. Sometimes we get ourselves, because of our own, I guess, lack of practice or dullness, surrounded with such obstacles that the only way out is to attain correct view tout suite, immediately, which is where you say, oh, this broken leg, this is the blessing of my teacher. Because I have to sit here and accumulate 7-line prayer now. There's nothing else to do. Or, you know, my car's busted. No, now I can't go anywhere. Well, and so on and so forth. And even sadness in one's life. Even when you feel like you just can't take it, can't go on. When you begin, slowly at first, to say to yourself, this indeed must be the blessing of the Guru. Even though it feels sad, even though it feels horrible. Indeed, this must be the blessing. And why is that? Because having said that, you've opened the door to the way out. You see what I'm saying? The protectors are yours. When we understand that outwardly Guru Rinpoche turned all the protectors towards Dharma, we must understand that on a secret level, you are now on the path of Dharma. Internally, all of your energies on some secret unconscious level are pointing you in a certain direction. Your commitments, your karma, your energies are pushing you forward. You know, the closest thing they say, closest thing I've heard, this is a little off the path, but a little off the beat, but the closest thing I've heard scientifically to understand the way all of this works is to describe the universe as, dimensional strings. Anybody heard of that? Listen to science once in a while? Do-do-do. Okay. So I'm talking to 4 people here. That's great. None of you will know how wrong I am. So in quantum physics, they say that it seems like there are dimensional strings, and they keep coming up with this number 11, and I don't know. The numbers, they're a little strange about the numbers. But the dimensional string part, that's pretty close. They're beginning to understand that we ride on waves of karma. Our whole experience are these waves of karma. And like at that moment when you turn to the protectors, engage them in your prayers and say, please help me remove these obstacles, or when you make prayers to the Guru to protect you, or you say those magical words, everywhere, every breath is the Guru, everything I see is the Guru, this indeed as well must be the Guru's blessing, and for this I am thankful. The first time you say that, you have opened up a door that you've never opened before. Instead, we judge. We say, well, I don't like the way this Lama teaches, or the way that Lama teaches, or I don't like what she said today. I don't like what she said Thursday. You know. Now it's time to realize that it's the doors we open from the inside that matter. And these protectors on that secret level help us to negotiate through that. You could say that they are like guiding the karmic waves along the network of multi-universal, was it billions and billions of strings. That's very Carl Sagan, isn't it? But every time that normally we're selfish, and we turn it around and we say, this indeed, I am grateful for this blessing from the 3 precious jewels, or grateful for this blessing from the Buddha. That is a different way of thinking than we've ever thought before. New string. New probability. New dimension. Happens to me all the time. What was I looking for? I was looking in the drawer the other day.
The puppy dinner?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. This happened to me a lot when I was younger too. I have a warmer in my kitchen. The puppy dinner should have been in there. I open it. It's cold. No puppy dinner. So I closed. I went, where's the puppy dinner? I saw this with my eyes. And Ariana says, it's in the drawer. And I said, no, it's not. She said, I think it is. No, it's... But she went in there, and I swear to you, the drawer was... There it was. And the drawer was warm. And I've got to stay on my right string. So I'm either getting old and crazy or stringy. I don't know which. But this is the truth. We think that something outside. But within us, the entrance to a new dimension today, or the entrance to a new reality, The potency of that is within you. And so our job then is to awaken to that potency, to awaken to that understanding of the inner, outer, and secret display of Buddha nature. And so that's just a few words. I wanted to give you a few words on the protectors just so that you can understand it. I know since there have been events recently that have been damaging to the Sangha and, commitments have been broken. I want to make it clear to you that your commitments are your power. When you break them, you have no power. Sure, the road is open again, but where's the protector? There is none except the one that's trying to get your attention to put you back on the path. All you're going to have is obstacles. There's not going to be any power. And that's the way it goes. And so, keeping Samaya awakens us to our true primordial wisdom nature. Breaking Samaya causes tremendous suffering for ourselves and for everyone that's involved with us. And you take the chance. Either the suffering comes now or it comes later. It may be this life or it may be next life. Or some you don't know. And so it's time to learn who's in control here. Who's running the show besides me. And it's time for us to really stand up as spiritual adults. Use your power. Use your robes. Use your commitments. Stand up valiantly. For once, listen to me. It wouldn't kill you. And that's the answer. That's what we got to do. I feel confident. I feel strong because I know that the bodhicitta is the strongest phenomenal force in the universe. There is no phenomena that is stronger than that. And so to give rise to the bodhicitta, as well as to pray to our protectors, keeps us potent and strong. Our commitments stay strong. To give us that old steel rod up the butt we really need.